Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again on this beautiful Sunday morning. I was thinking about exploiting the poor. I guess that thought crossed my mind because there was something running across the television screen. Exploiting the poor, I saw that, and it brought back to my mind the mission that has been given towards ending that exploitation, and yet it is very rampant. I was thinking about things that have happened through the efforts that we've talked about. It hasn't really done any good. I don't think anybody's even paid any attention to it. But the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, as I reflect on my daily message of trying to say to you something that would awaken you to the reality that life is, in its purest form, is its truest, best form. And it's so accessible because each of us got the power, each of us play a part in that major process. And the fact that we are so far from it is because we are not exercising our gifts of choice, of real educated choice. We're just being dictated. And I really want to say to my brothers and sisters who have been representing themselves as being Christians on the fundamentalist and evangelical right wing Christians, I want to say to you, I'm so sorry that you were given fake information about God. I'm so sorry that you were led to believe that you could talk about God's love and say you how much you represent it. And as soon as a rich counterfeiter comes on the scene, you jump on the bandwagon. And even though that counterfeiter represents nothing, and you know it, yet you still jump on that bandwagon, it's because you've been led blindly. And so I want you to know that you can repent from that, recognize the truth, and the first truth you have to recognize is how deceived you were. So my continued effort, how do I say something today? And that exploiting of the poor. But it's more than that, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just the exploitation of the poor, it's the exploitation of one another. The systems of the world are based on exploitation of one another. Everybody lives off one another, but through a system of exploitation. You remember how here in America, when the farming season, how you want the Mexicans to come over and do the farming. I know I participated once in North Carolina picking tobacco. You know, you bring them in, you can pay them cheap, but it's so much more than what they normally get where they come from. So they are getting a step up. They're getting a step up and still being exploited. So that speaks to what happens throughout the whole systems of the world. Exploitation will step up. Everything still exploitation will step up. And the system was instituted for that very purpose. The one who started it are the ones who is like at the top of the pyramid. They're the ones. Everything leads up to them. People get little rides as they come their way. In fact, it is a pyramid. It's nothing but an expression of the pyramid scheme, all the way to the top. But it's fine because all the way up to the top, you're still exploiting people. So you're being paid to exploit. So you're thinking that it's okay to do the limited exploitation that you do. And you've been trained to think like that. and you think like that. So when you come along and you hear someone like me come on the scene and tell you that you're being exploited, that everything that you're getting through this process of exploitation, you can get it without any exploitation, without any moving up down the line. It's just that everybody's up all the time. Why? Because people are doing what they want to do, what they were designed to do. And as they do that, they cause the manifestation of the goods and services that they have come up with and determined are something that they want. And as their imagination grows, you know how that thing works. And the reservoir of goods and services are overflowing. There. It's like somebody say, well, I know a lot of people think that if you made stuff accessible to everyone, say like free, and it's not really free. These people give their lives for the resources that have abound. Yes, they committed their lives. They have committed themselves. And these resources is a result of their commitment to not exploit one another, but to give toward the benefit of one another. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I tell you to try God. See, that's the way God thinks. I'm telling you now, wait a minute now. When I say that's the way God thinks, I'm not trying to limit God to this thinking. No, 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 no. I'm just saying that this is part of God's thinking. None of you are suffering from lack of education, bored to death. You get out of high school, you can't go to college, you can't go to trade school. You just wonder what can you do. A virus comes around and mess you up. You're sick, you can't do anything. You're scared. You think you don't trust anybody. You're scared to take stuff that they've come up with that said will save your life. I don't trust it. You know people, just because of the Tuskegee Institute, that experiment they ran over black people down that way, it had the whole population knowing that you will do anything. You will do anything. And so why will you do anything? Because you profit from it. What kind of profit? Money. You think if you come up with some scheme, you can make some money. So here again, you got this old element, that bait that's sucking you into exploitation of one another. See, if you weren't trying to do that for money, what other reason would you be doing it for? Just to be hateful and mean, to kill people? Would you do it for that? I don't know now. You might. Well, anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. What I really wanted just to bring out to you, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're going through every day. Today, we're still talking about voting rights in America. Isn't that something? Only in hell can something like that happen. Only in hell can something like that happen, where you have some people say we're going to do everything we possibly can to keep other folks from having a voice in the decisions that's going to be made about the conduct through law and order of our environment. We're going to shut them down and impose our way up on them. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? In the 21st century, they were doing this back there in Rome and before then. And here we are today. Can't go forward because we're still out here playing those silly games. Well, that's the game of life. But I want you to know this is what you're going to always get. So when you go to church and you hear your preacher telling you about you got to give your tithes and offering and stuff like that, make sure you let him know you're not talking about money. It's talking about commitment to love, commitment for compassion, commitment to one another to make sure that the love of God is felt and experienced by all, everywhere. Because you are here and you are led by a different spirit, not the spirit of fear because somebody will kill you if you won't listen to them. No, because you will die before you be bound to a system of hate and racism and bigotry. That's what you're trying to say. That's your statement. That's your commitment to God. And until you can do that, you're still growing, I hope. Because sometimes when you grow up. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.